Chris Wallace, you're unmuted.
Okay, yeah. So you cut out a little bit. Were you asking who wanted to go next?
Yes.
Okay. I also like the coveralls. I just stripped mine off from getting back from the Burleson shop. So I'm Chris Wallace. I'm the product owner of the Burleson, Texas, USA Microfactory. Last week, I purchased, picked up, whatever, and delivered new lug came into the shop. They're called spline locking nuts or something like that. I did make a video of that to show model numbers and all of that sort of thing. I tested the lug nuts, and they did pass. I also, in the shop, delivered, unpacked, and at least brought to ready the new parts bin so that that can hopefully be easily built in just a very short period of time. I attempted to remove on the pedal plate the Honda S2000 steering rack tie rods for car number 11. I failed on that. I actually, after watching the video, realized I was probably going about it backwards. I probably actually need to try to get the tie rods off first before I even deal with the nut. But either way, I posted that on my Facebook, and later we'll post that on YouTube if anybody wants to give any comments and advice on that. Actually, that's the other thing I wrote down, is that I shot a video of all of that. The whole time in the shop was about 25 minutes, so it was a quick rush to bring 3 separate tasks as close to done as they each could be, without trying to multitask too much. For next week, this brings up the 2 main things that have been on my list for the last couple of weeks, which I'm actually pretty confident I'll get to, because school should be wrapped up this week, and will give me a little more time to, when I'm on the computer, do non-school related things. So I need to again edit the new team member email that's sent to the admin, and then automate sending that to the team as a whole. In the shop, we should be able to. I'm like 95% confident we can assemble the parts bin. And I have not verified parts yet, so we'll blocks forthcoming. But I think that should be fairly easy to get done. And then I need to remove the S2000 tie rods, which I, at this point, have about 50% confidence in getting done. But have a few plans on that. The only blocks that I have is I'm not sure how to remove those tie rods. And I actually wrote down, which I think you answered already, possibly. I thought I tried this, but maybe not. Is I'm not sure how the Geomagic license key works now. When I logged into it after your email, the license utility showed that it was valid. So I opened up Geomagic, and I closed Geomagic, and I think I re-entered the same key that we had with the email address I had, and then when I opened it again, it still showed as expired. I was doing it through a remote desktop connection, which actually adds an extra caveat. So, again, there may already be a solution to this block, but I have not sat down at that computer, which Geomagic design, when you open it, does tell you that it does not work properly. It's not actually allowed to work through a remote desktop connection. And that's terminal service licenses for multiple copies. Yeah, and that actually wraps it up for my stand-up portion. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Yes, let's revisit that too in Crosstalk. They gave me a lot of information with a lot of updating, and also they have in-house. So we will bring that up. Thank you, Chris. Who would like to go next? It looks like Lauren, you are unmuted.
Yep. Yeah, this is Lauren Salter on Gabriel Island, British Columbia, and this past week I continue to, or I
join mine, or you want to use? Yeah, go ahead.
Continue doing the last 2% or something of the 501c. I actually made a breakthrough in understanding the sum-ifs function in Excel. So that, because they in the spreadsheets, the existing spreadsheets, there was a workaround where they concatenated 2 fields so they could have an if that was related to 2 fields, but there's actually a function called sum ifs, but the syntax is tricky. So I got it working today. So I'm happy about that. And so I'm going to commit it tonight, and I'm going ahead probably tomorrow morning and try and get a hold of Joe to sign it. And in crosstalk, I'm going to ask if there's is it anyone else who can. I'm going to try and locate him or ping him and see about him signing.
Do you have it filtered?
Box are concerned tax Canadian tax time, and oh, I ended up paying more than I expected. And so
you're going to return that, right?
Blocks. What's that?
You're going to return the extra that you paid, right? Or is that not the case? They're like, oh, we'll just roll it for next year?
I'm actually getting some back. I have complicated taxes for one more year and then make it simpler. So the coming week, so the coming week is totally just pinging Joe, getting the signature, and seeing if we can get that sent off.
My context right now.
And beyond that, I went to a. So there's one more. I was interested in having the process of reporting on financial things simpler. And I got another block. So, but anyways, I went to a meeting of our Linux group on this island, and easy way to set up a server and set up an open source accounting system that Chris recommended. I'm not super on web servers and things like that, but I got an idea how to do that. I want to do that and use it myself a bit before I recommend it or install it with Chris on one of WIKISPEED servers. I have to kind of sell it to various interested parties. And the other block I was thinking of. There's a. I don't have the asset balance. I probably have the data for an asset balance, but that's a little beyond me. How they. I could try and reverse engineer it off another year's, and I only have up to 2014, so there'd be some kind of decision as to if the 2015 stuff is available. It wasn't when I started, way long ago. So that could be a small block to get the 2014 asset balance one way or another. Figure it out or get the actual one, because you just need the last year's asset balance. So that's it for blocks and everything else. That's it for me for now.
Thank you, Lauren. To confirm, did you need last year's 2016 or do you need 2015's asset balance?
Till 2016 is too early. It's or whatever. Anyways, I'm good enough at it, the whole thing now, that it wouldn't either way could work. I'm thinking 2015 would be fine, given it's a little bit early for the 2016, which is being filed now, or just been filed. But anyway, so it's just, it's kind of either, but at least consider, doing the 2015. But I didn't have them for 2014. The asset balance tab wasn't there on the spreadsheet, nor was a summary monthly tab. So I had to work that up.
Alrighty, sounds good. Thank you very much. I like the hat. Mary Michael, would you like to go next day? We'll help you with your computer in terms of the stand-up later. We're having that block.
Yeah, blocking issue. I'm not getting the emails, and I can never find the right link to join you all. Got a lot done. Have started getting things in the room set up for training, including mounting the consoles more firmly to the wall. Thank you, William, for muscles lifting and putting that back on. And then also the other big win that I've had was I was able to get bids and then set up with someone to do a lot of cleaning up on the property. And, you know, everything from mowing the lawn to cleaning gutters. So really excited about that. Got our giveaways delivered and emails going out. Got a hotel block set up for people who wanted to come, who need the hotel. And then a lot of information for Joe about planning. Had a long plan with William for the backlog. Got a new water dispenser, more wine glasses, just all the things that we need to make it really flow easily. And so yeah, that's what we did. What we will be doing is more touch-up around, just some touch-up paint over some scratches and things like that. Ordering new filters for the air conditioner and heat pump. Let's see, more emails to go out, and then the actual shopping and physical setup. So that's what's going to happen. Blocking issues. Would love to be able to connect and get those emails. And that's all from Princess Power Tool.
Thank you, Mary Michael. No blocks then, it sounds like? Or I guess there's that email.
Yeah, just the
Okay.
email.
Awesome. We'll try to get that done.
I think I'm next. So last week, working with performance improvements for the WordPress site, I did two things. First one was trying to reduce the size of the homepage video. And the second thing I tried was optimizing and compressing all the images in the WordPress site and optimizing for the web. So I did those two things, and yeah, it looks like we have a substantial performance improvement. Although the websites that gives you the tests your site always gives you a different result like every time. So I don't know how trustful those sites are. However, I managed to reduce the size of the video and the images. So yeah, there's a difference. There must have been an improvement there. And next week, I was thinking of compressing now, not the images, but all the assets like style sheets, JavaScript files, maybe minifying them. At first I wanted to concatenate all of them into a single file, but I think that's not going to be possible using WordPress, or at least I don't know how to do it. I'm still researching for that, but it looks like WordPress doesn't give you that flexibility. Well, I see what can I come up with, and that's me. No blockers.
No blocks. Love that. Wow. That's a rare. Congrats. And from Michael Lolchek, I think most people saw his email. I'll just put it on or verbalize it so that it's on record. He's at a seminar today, so he's not able to make it, or at least he'll try to. Hopefully he'll get on. I doubt that he's ever missed more than one stand-up. Last week, nothing to report, he says. He took some videos of the garage workspace, but it's not suited for posting. Come on, maybe just within a closed group of people. We'll start there. Next week, he says, do something on the electrical CAD, and blocks, none. So thank you, Michael. I wish you were here, and you're missed. I believe that concludes our stand-up. A little overtime, my apologies. However, we are still within the 15-minute setup. Okay, now it's 15 minutes. But since we did start a little late, that was my fault. next, which is our retrospective. I want to give myself more than a 10, but I'll just leave it at 9.8 or something.
9.8 got bazillion.
Yeah, maybe. No, I'm taking 0.2 off because I got really frustrated. I was like, Windows, I want to break you. Actually, Windows, I think, did break my partition on my Mac, so hence the the other laptop. Thank you, Nathan, for remembering. And it was very coincidental that I just like, hey, I have a laptop I can use. Nathan's like, oh yeah, you have this laptop. Do you want it back? I'm like, yes, I do. Same day, got it back, loaded it, and wasn't able to confirm the GeoMagic. So it was just block after block, and finally, with the team coming together, supports, and also a 10 for the team. Really, the team really came through and helped it to remove all that block to get GeoMagic on there, confirmed license, awesome. A little bit selfishly though, because it's on my platform, also on Hubert's, but I'm sure it's probably on Joe's as well, and also Michael Lochek's. We're gonna get you unblocked hopefully tonight too, also Chris. So that would be the goal. As a Kaizen, a constant improvement, I think we'll need to figure out something to track who has those licenses or who's using a license, and also how many of them are they using. So perhaps we could just start a Google sheet or in our data tracking, like who has what license, and perhaps we'll check, every quarter or every semi-annually or something, so that we can all still be there. Because what happens is 3D systems cannot deactivate individual licenses. They'll have to just shut the whole thing off, like what we did this time. Or the other option is individually per person. Like I can go in to deactivate my own license, say, hey, I'm moving on to Google or SpaceX or something. Like you guys could use this. They're going to give me a new one. I don't know. Something like that. Otherwise, no one else can deactivate my license is the problem. They can deactivate the whole thing and everybody else gets the same axe. So that's my constant improvement. Let's go in order then. I believe, Chris, you're next.
Yes. Sorry about that. Typing up my crosstalk. Okay, so for my retrospective, I'm going to go with an 8 for me. Would have liked to have done a lot more, but bumped myself up in points because I did make it to the shop, and I really scrummed the hell out of the 25 minutes I had to spend there as best as I knew how. So also I'm going to do a 9 for the team, and that probably should be a 10, but the only reason I say that is because I want to know what's next. What is the next awesome thing that we're going to do? So that's why we're at 9 right now, and we will exceed 10 next time. For my process improvement, something I kind of jotted down in the moment. Just wondering if maybe if we can try calling this regularly scheduled hangout the weekly for a sprint or two, and see if it changes anything. See if it makes if it changes attitudes or the amount of people that show up or anything. Whether or not we're tracking any of those things, maybe interesting too. But yeah, and just call it the weekly high five. And that is it for me.
Thank you, Chris. I believe, Lauren, you're next.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to give myself an 8 because I pretty much polished off the application. Not higher because it's been so very long. And the team's a 10. And the process improvement is something other than stand-up. So maybe high five, I'm not sure. But because stand-up, and we're educating people on Scrum. If they don't know Scrum, then stand-up doesn't mean anything to them. So, yeah, so maybe a definition, a catchy definition of, and high five may be it, but anyway. So that's kind of an agreement or a second, but not exactly. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Lauren. I see what you're going. I think you're coming up with a cue for what you want next after the high five experiment, the quote unquote name. We'll save the rest of those for crosstalk. Mary Michael, you are next.
Woohoo! Let's see. I'm gonna give myself a solid 9 because I have been here for almost a week and I have not pooped out, and in fact I'm still rocking and rolling. So I'm really proud of myself. And the team is just a 10 because you all are. Oh, I haven't even been here for a week.
You have.
Oh, I have?
You were here since last Tuesday, remember?
Oh my goodness, I've been here like a week and a half almost. Okay, now I'm really fabulous. I'm definitely a 9.
I know, I'm like, maybe a 10?
Okay.
You did quite a
Hey,
bit.
if you won't take a 10 because you got frustrated, you're going to ding yourself for an emotional response.
Yeah, I am.
Whatever.
I am.
Whatever.
I mean, product owner. I hold product owners to be high regards.
Oh, to higher standards?
Something like that.
Something.
Sorry.
Whatever.
This is your retro. My
Okay.
fault.
In terms of process improvement, are we thinking of changing the name so that more people understand and want to participate? Is that what we're thinking? It's interesting. I love the catchiness of the high five, and it's such an invitation. I do know it has been called StandUp since the very beginning, and isn't that technically what the process is called?
Yes, that's why I'm standing up. And I was shamefully sitting down when I gave my stand-up, unfortunately.
Okay.
But now I remembered, so I'm standing up. Yes.
So I guess I would, but since we do so many of the other processes in the one meeting, that would be, and because it's so catchy, I could see it being okay. Yeah.
Do you have?
Thank you for keeping me on track.
Or unless you feel free to third support.
Yeah,
Chris
I'm
Wallace.
kind of gonna third support that. I'm kind of grooving on it.
Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, did you have a score for the team? Apologies. I think you did. Maybe I just.
A 10 too. That's what it was.
Well, thank you. I will maybe move mine to 9.9. Stanley, I believe you are up next.
Yeah, I will give myself an 8, and I will give the team a 10. And I don't have a process improvement right now. So yeah, that's me.
All right. Thank you, Stanley. That was quick and sweet. I will remove mine for stand-up because it's not really a process improvement because I think I'm just going to do it anyways as far as tracking. So I believe the only option for our process improvement is experimenting with the name for the temporary for 1 or 2 weeks as proposed by Chris Wallace, correct me if I'm wrong, let's call it the high five. Almost like high fidelity.
I want to, based on input from the team, I absolutely understand what Lauren is saying, and that makes perfect sense to me. So I would modify my suggestion, recommendation to say that we should leave the wording WIKISPEED weekly Scrum meeting, however we say it, and then say / weekly high five or something like that. We do need to make sure that everybody understands that it's a stand-up. So, WIKISPEED stand-up / high five party or something along those lines.
So
You said Scrum meeting, and I think Scrum meeting is a long name. It should be Scrum meeting stand-up high five.
So
Yeah, no, I lost my train of thought for a second. No, it should stay the same, which is the weekly stand-up, and then maybe we can just tack on a / or parentheses around high five party.
I have my input too, but I'm going to let Mary Michael go because I think she has something before she forgets. Go.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, before I forget. So I love the idea of saying WIKISPEED's weekly high five and putting the cool, catchy thing in the beginning. And then you can say that it is our stand-up. It is, what else is this? It's our retrospective and our
Crosstalk,
crosstalk.
which is our backlog refine.
Okay, so you can say in our backlog refinement. And you can actually put those Scrum terms in, but it's already got the cute little meeting name at the beginning. And that way we are still true to Scrum, but we have explained ourselves a little bit just in the title. So I'm putting my writing brain to work.
So Chris, think what you want to do with the term or the name of our stand-up is to evolve it further. We really want to adapt it into us and not just continue to use it as the Scrum terms, which is fine, especially for other organizations. But for us, since we've been using it for so long, I'm going to say we as in like as the whole organization, not just individually, because all of y'all put together, I'm like, I'm glad I'm part of the team. So with that said, let's integrate it and not create our own, but evolve it and adapt it and tailor it into our own. As such, it's a framework. So let's make it WIKISPEED like how do we make it exciting and fun and awesome, and on the same aspect, it's still kaboom. Yeah! It's like one of us is the shark and the other one's the gorilla, or in some cases the jet, you know. And yeah, it's a high five explosion in the back. Come on, Joe, where are you at? You would like that reference?
Oh, I love it.
Why not? Let's call it a high five, and then the details we, as the group, can put our efforts into the input online, and figure it out and tailor it to what we want. I think it's going to turn out fantastic. Some things we'll like to edit, and that's just part of the evolution and progression. So, are there any more comments about that?
I would just say that is awesome. I think that you nailed the idea behind why I thought it was a process improvement. I think everybody's input is amazing on it. So maybe the process improvement is that we find a good new name that includes all of these suggestions, or the best voted on for this upcoming hangout or sprint or whatever.
It sounds like there are no other options to vote, and we're all discussing about it in one shape, form, or another, and seconding it and thirding it, and so on. So, congratulations, Chris. We're gonna update our name to try it out for the first couple of weeks, couple of stand-ups for high five or to be determined edited. So, sounds good. That concludes our retrospective of 5-5 unanimous. Which brings us to our crosstalk. Does anyone have anything pressing before they need to leave, just to be considerate of those on time constraints?
I just need to know if anybody needs me or if I can go upstairs. Get stuff done.
Well, I'm leaving, guys. See ya.
You're gonna go? Okay. Bye, Stanley.
Yeah,
Bye, Stanley.
Thank you, Stanley.
Okay, let's see. Oh yeah, can someone else fill in the process improvement spreadsheet? Because I'm afraid I've done enough on the computer that I'm worried I'm going to do something I'll go backwards, damaging things at this point.
No, I have it open. I'll go ahead and update it now. And plus, with the whole Google Docs pushing thing, has got me a bit worried. But
don't send out a note say updated docs. Click on this.
I shared this new one with you guys. I'm just kidding. Don't open. If there's anything new, don't open it. Please call me first. You should have my number, or at least have a way to call me, or Google Hangouts, right? That. If I accept one of those, I think they can have access to the rest of my phone and accounts in life, right? That should be easy. I hope. Yes, I think we should be good, Mary Michael, if you'd like to go upstairs.
Just real, Mary Michael's block.
Oh, yeah.
You're not getting email notifications. So whatever, I mean, I can verify this, but whatever Gmail or Google-related account that you are signed up for the team Google group, which actually I think you created, so you probably remember what that is. I think you actually created the Google group originally, possibly, or maybe you were the second person.
No, I think I created it, and I don't remember. I had
either. Yeah. I think y'all are actually muted right now, but either way. So if you don't remember the email address, you can look it up. if in fact, I think it was in an email that Michael Olchek sent with a screenshot to verify. If you need a new one, we can easily join you up that way. But the main thing is that you can log in and change your notifications are set to like do not send you notifications. So I think the options are fairly limited. I think it's like no notifications, important notifications, and then like all notifications. I can also check. I don't know that I can change that on my end. I think that maybe has to be done on your end. If you have a different email address now, we can just get you signed up with that, and you can go in and
Cool.
figure out what's going on. We can talk offline about that and continue that and get that block removed. Hopefully this week.
Awesome.
Or
That would be great.
Sooner than this week, really.
So,
Sooner this week.
so we think that's in my WIKISPEED.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
No, so if you log in as your whatever you log into Google as, or at least for there, like that actually makes sense to me now that you did not see the email that Michael sent. If you're not getting the notifications, verify what email address you're using. I mean, I want to say off the top of my head it was like mmjustice@gmail.com or something along those lines. I could be totally off base. But if you are logged into Google with that account and you just type in to your Google search Google Groups, you should find Team WIKISPEED on the left-hand side once you click on that link. And then once you're into it, I don't have the full memory to tell you, but there is a series of links you can click on to change your notifications at that point, whatever your preferences are for the group.
So I need to do this within Google Groups, not within on the website.
Correct. Yeah. The notifications have nothing. They are not tied to the website at all. This is totally tied only to your Google account that you originally were added to the Google Groups as.
So is that the Google Plus?
No. It's just called Google Groups. It's been around forever.
Yeah.
If you type in Google Groups and go there, you can actually go and look at all previous messages in the Google Groups. But if you, like William, because you're receiving like the invitation, if you're logged into your Google account, probably a Gmail account or whatever it is, and log into it and type Google Groups, you'll see exactly what I'm saying. That it'll show up somewhere Team WIKISPEED. When you click on it, then you can go in and change your preferences for notifications. But that is an excellent point, that it is not part of, it's just part of your Google account.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, she's there.
So every new message, that'll be everything. Are we doing lots of messages through Google Groups now?
It's not. I would say a lot of stuff's going through Slack or through personal email now, which again, I don't know if that's the best way to keep information silos from happening. But no, it does not seem like a huge amount. You won't be getting like 1 an hour. It's more like a few a week at this point, something along those lines. When somebody gets excited, there might be a little more back and forth.
Yeah, that does happen.
my
When
God.
a team builds around an epic, you might see a few more emails.
It's true, but I do have Google filter that and port it through, so it's I'm not too worried. I'm like, it's just gonna go off.
Oh my God.
So
No, I did start this. I set this up a bazillion years ago. Speaking
I
of
thought I was right. You actually, that's what I was going to say. I think that you actually originally created our Google group that has made all of the awesome happen from then on.
Owner right there.
yeah, I was like, oh man.
Wow. I'm sorry, chills.
It was
I
like
just
I'm
so
gonna dab
long
to the
ago.
left.
Wow, I totally just got chills.
An interesting point you mentioned, Chris, which is the information silos. There was a volunteer, I think Nathan, correct me if I'm wrong, Nathan, when you're doing view this video, that he mentioned having the Slack, the email, and the Trello. There's just so many different forms of communication that it's hard to kind of keep track of, what's going on in communication. And I thought, well, that is a good point to a certain aspect, because the Trello is going to be more specific on what that specific card in that project is. The Slack could be discussions, or it could be sharing articles or things that we just wanted to have the different APIs integration. I think Slack is probably new enough where we're not necessarily like fully depending on it. I think we're still fully depending on email. It's really that important to us. Slack, we're kind of playing around with it, see if it's feasible, if it's even helpful. So that's my take on it. I don't think we're siloing ourselves, are we? I mean, that would be an important thing to know.
Yeah. No, I mean, I really think those are great points. Like mostly the way I communicate with Stanley is through Slack, because that seems to make more sense to him. Also, Slack works as a very good way to get notifications from Trello, because the boards that have integration into Slack, that's the one that you get the little pink Trello board was updated. That doesn't come from Trello. It comes from Slack channel that's integrated to Trello.
Yeah.
Although I get,
But yeah, I mean, I think the way I'm sorry, Mary Michael. I think that the way that we stop the information silos is by any time someone requests access to something, we get them access to that. Certain kinds of communication seem to work better through certain media.
Yeah.
And I understand the point completely that these have all been little experiments over time to see, and they've all seemed to find their. I don't know. I think that to me that's the only way is if people want access to Slack, then they can request it and somebody can add them or however that works, and then Trello and but yeah, I have found actually more people getting away from using the Google Group email. So for people that just follow it to see what's going on generally on the team, they're probably not seeing as many updates. So that maybe we need to be more diligent on doing demos or something like that. But I mean, I actually think it's okay to use multiple tools to communicate, depending on what communication is needing to happen.
Yeah, because the demos that I send out is primarily in emails. Like I'll upload it and then I'll copy and paste that link, or sublink it into the email itself. That's primarily what that's for. The Slack, I rarely had to use just because I always, or mostly, more often than not, like to speak with a person in person. If not, then a video conversation like this. So that type of scrumming or collaboration and or communication gets done a lot more effective and efficiently, as opposed to emails, which is just taking hours upon hours. Maybe it's just
exactly. Slack really replaces the concept of texting each other,
yeah.
But it leaves it literally is better than an information silo because it leaves an information trail.
Yeah,
like it's a group text message basically is what Slack is.
Yeah.
Now you can individually email each other and you can subscribe to channels, and I mean there's a lot of options there. Trello obviously is our keeping our work visible at this point is the tool we're using. So I mean you wouldn't want to eliminate that. But I mean it takes a lot of extra time. But I mean I've tried in the past. Any time something gets up, a demo, post it to YouTube, share the YouTube to Trello, share the Trello page to the Google group. So I mean that's probably where the efficiency experiments need to happen. But I think all the tools seem to work great for what they were originally intended for.
on a side note, I came here and William's been, working on the software stuff, and it's been me and occasionally the kids upstairs in the dojo, and I cannot tell you how many nights it's been like, "Where's Chris? Where's Wallace? We need to be here, done." And so, yeah, miss you, man.
I'm not sleeping on the couch.
I know.
Couch is still there. It's in the trailer. Speaking of which, I gotta find that key. And GeoMagic, yes. So I'm going to pop open my computer and see where you're logging in from, Chris, or at least the. I'm not using the dongle. I'm using the Activate Online.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It worked before to me for me to use the virtual dongle. I will say that this because I don't foresee having to dive into the CAD anytime soon. I just when you sent that email out, I wanted to check and and see if my license was still working or not. When I tried to reactivate it the same way it was, I don't think it came up. I'm actually, my part of the discussion I actually wrote down here is I'm more surprised that GeoMagic cannot track who is using the licenses, because when I tried to re-register it, I put in the key and the original email address, and then it asked for my name, number, address, all the, which I guess you could give a bogus response, but or possibly they're just not even tracking that information at all. Which,
Would it
but again,
work?
this is not a huge block for me.
Would it work if we use like a team email login and a team email address? Would that help?
Well, the license key is tied to one email address, but it does additionally ask you information about yourself that does not, it doesn't affect the license, but it's kind of like a set of registrations field, at least the way I try to do it. Now, you're saying that you did it online, so it may be a completely different process than I've done in the past.
So I'm wondering.
But again, I mean, I actually I don't want to spend too much time on this, because again, it's going to be a while before I need to dive into the CAD at all. So it would, if somebody comes along that's it's more pertinent to use that license, it's theirs.
True. And before I continue down that rabbit hole, does that make sense, Mary Michael, or do you have more questions?
No, I'm totally good. I just need to know if anybody else needs anything from me, because I'm unblocked. You guys are awesome.
Cool.
No.
All right.
It's awesome talking to you again, Mary Michael.
Hasta.
See you tomorrow.
Well, I gotta come down and clean the shop, so I'll be done later.
Oh, okay. I'll see you in a bit. Later.
Okay, Chris.
Yes, Sir Lauren.
No, not you. My wife's name is Chris too.
Wow.
She's asleep. And she said, "What?" Yeah. So, just like I said, I'm not really good at setting up stuff, but they told me now if I download the ISO for Linux server, for Ubuntu server, and they gave me some other tips, and so in the process it asks me if I want LAMP or something like Apache. So it's kind of setting it up and also setting up the SQL Server. So that's helpful. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and once I either succeed or don't, I'm going to ping you. And where are you at with your courses?
They're all officially done at the end or middle of end of next week, but I'm actually hoping to wrap them up like Saturday. So I think I should be good.
This is
also,
probably more like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I actually at this point can't predict that far out, but I mean, it seems like I have a completely open calendar 2 weeks from now, but
Cool.
that may turn out not to be the case. I actually wrote something down about that. You have a Linux group on an island as small as yours. That is awesome.
I've never been anywhere that didn't have a Linux group.
That's amazing. And
Sure.
and LAMP, yes, is what you're going to want for. I think we had discussed front accounting. I don't know whether that can be recommended or not. It seems sort of.
I'm gonna test it out. I want something that I can use the phone. I want everybody to be able to interact with it, and it's kind of almost a vision of an open financial thing that especially receipts can go into and have meaningful categories. That's what strikes me as there's these standard accounting things, but I know one thing I do know about Intuit and Quicken and everything, and QuickBooks is use categories that are meaningful to you and fall into certain super categories of accounting, but use categories and get a set of categories that work for you. So what I envision is something like setting something up and then letting people comment on it after a few months and people having some experience with it and finalize the categories. Anyway, that's kind of
Yeah.
the how I'm thinking.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that like we had discussed front accounting before. Again, it seems completely functional and stable. The interface, maybe not the most elegant thing. I mean, it kind of seems like what you would expect on the front end of like an Access database or something. You know, some tables and there's or whatever. Like there's fields that you fill in information. But I understand it's it's fairly customizable for what you're saying. Also, when I evaluated it, I actually knew nothing about accounting, which I couldn't really evaluate how well it worked on that front. But it seemed to be a very stable, fast program. I don't know how well it's set up for mobile, but as long as your mobile device could interface with a regular web page.
Yeah, I'll check that out one more time before I do it. But I had the impression that it's a server based, and there may have been plugins or there may have been plugins or additional things that provide the apps.
We have also a local college guru expert at the Linwood shop as well. His name is Andrew Hall.
What kind of expert?
Ubuntu specifically, the Linux.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, he's one of our volunteers that's been helping us work on the Speeduino and Arduino's project, and so when we had to run the Google Hangouts the first time, he was trying to figure out how to load actually that into. I think he's got a knack for that. I can send an introduction email and go from there.
Yeah, that would be cool. I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I would just say also that I've set up Ubuntu many times. I prefer Debian at this point, which is what Ubuntu is derived from. They all work the same. And I'm not even going to start to get into the.
They were only talking about Debian. They just all, I want my Debian. I don't care what's happening with anything else.
Right. Yeah, I won't even get into the debate about different Linux distros. To me, there's only two real divisions, and it's how you install programs, and that's kind of the Debian side or the Red Hat CentOS side. But they both work great. But yeah, it's been a while, but have plenty of experience with both. Set up many web server on them to test out all sorts. So if you run into something that's just crazy that you can't figure out, those are the kind of problems I like to solve. So you definitely put them my way. And also, William, I would like to be CC'd on the contact email to find another, Linux lover is always super awesome.
Done.
Okay, that's pretty much it from me. Thanks, William. Thanks, Chris.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I also love your hat, Lauren. It was awesome hanging out with you again.
Okay, it's a Kurdish hat. It's also considered a religious head covering. So I'm not Kurdish, but I do qualify to wear religious head coverings. So
awesome. That's good.
I can use it. I use it actually for religious gatherings.
Religious gathering. Very good. That's neat.
Okay. See you next week. Take
All
care.
right. Yes, y'all. Get some rest too, and keep at it.
Bye, Lauren. I don't think I have anything else, William.
Other than
You probably need.
the GeoMagick, I may need to. Here's my thoughts of the GeoMagick. Was just to start a spreadsheet and say, here's the 10 licenses. Obviously, Joe Justice, Hubert Smith, Michael Lolchek, Chris Wallace, and it'll be like a yes or no that's in place right now. To toggle the two, and there'll just be 10 blocks. A third column just in case multiple machines if you need be, but it shouldn't have to because you can load your same one on multiple machines. You just got to go to the machine that you're not using and deactivate. That's what the lady said, or that's what not lady, but yes, she was a lady. But that's what 3D System Support said. that you can do it that way. And I asked them, so can you look up who's using what? Like, no. For some reason, their database, I don't know what they're using, maybe it's not SQL, but they only have emails. What? Okay. That's frowned.
Some of that has to do with that GeoMagic did not purchase it from Libre, right? So
Okay.
there was probably a huge transition period where they were trying to figure out what was going on. So it's,
Gotcha. You
you know,
outsourced it.
you know, 3D Systems is a 3D printer manufacturer that bought out an awesome CAD software company. But no, actually, that makes perfect sense. Why don't we just track it on our end with a spreadsheet, a few fields, like you said, name. Are you using it? How many licenses are you using? Again, we'd request you only use one unless you got 2 people on your local team, because you can just deactivate and reactivate on whatever computer you're on at the moment. So yeah, no, I mean, I think that works great. We can make that spreadsheets or something like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. Awesome.
I don't know how long I'm going to be using this guy, but for as long as I'm here, I'm going to keep using it. And because how recently I started using it, I was thinking, you know, if there's one day that I, you know, may not be here anymore, I'm doing something else, then I think this will just be the WIKISPEED. I'm going to start slapping a sticker on it. Since, you know, it's spent a year with Nathan doing nothing until he popped it open, and I was like, oh, let me check to see if I have the specs correctly. And he just like he had to bleep his pants. He was like, "What? There's that much?" He's like, "I could have been using it." Yeah, could have. Well,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, I will say, I don't know. I'm not a Mac user. Like, it's the least amount of knowledge I have of what I consider the 3 options. But so I don't know the thing is, I don't know the dual booting option. So I don't know how you tried to dual boot Windows. But I do know, and I think it does take a little money for the license, but that from Windows, you can use a product called Parallels to launch Windows. I mean, it does cost. But
yeah.
It has, I will say, it has its own set of intricacies.
I've ran Parallels and also VMware, Virtual Machines. I'm actually an older Mac, 13-inch. And that's the problem with running virtual machines, so to speak. It's using all the resources, unfortunately. Whereas if I dual booted, I'm actually using a dedicated resource, the whole hardware, to one operating system. Whereas right now I'm running 2 operating systems with a full dedicated hardware. It's like, I'm working overload. So
I'm right there with you. Definitely been there, where dual booting has its advantages for that exact reason.
Yeah.
Especially when you get into like CAD and video editing and anything that's processor intensive and RAM intensive. It works great. I mean, it works great to use VirtualBox or VirtualPC or any of them to boot up something you're going to browse the internet on. That always works.
At some point, I may want to test and deactivate that license on that PC and try it in my dual boot and see if it's still okay and working, or did it completely die. So, but that's so far on the list of, part of the epic that I'll be all right. So, okay.
Exactly.
Well, good. I'm glad at least I got a second opinion. I think, you know, that's just a small, simple fix. I didn't want to take up a whole constant improvement. So, awesome. Very good. And of course, you know, Joe got his car back. He drove it. He's loving it. He's like, this feels so great. It's good. I'm like, yeah, yes, it's gotten to that part finally. All right. You'll be missed, sir, for next CSM and CSPO class. So, until next time. I think I mentioned last week about the Urban Transportation Salon. So, I'm glad it was just one person going. I was, to be honest, a little more disappointed about it, because it wasn't a lot of collaboration is what I was hoping for. I'm like, ooh, let's collaborate and build that, make it better. It's like, no, check out my stuff. This stuff is like the newest, most innovative. So like, this is a trade show? What is this? I mean, it's cool that the food and drinks were free. I'm like, yeah, except all I had was water. Anyways, so that was my 2 cents, and that's what I've done. Thank you. Rocking on that school, man. More power to you. I'm so, like, it's actually inspiring, because I'm thinking about, you know, if I want to do more school, if not a PhD, then maybe a master's in engineering. It'll be tough. Yeah, why not?
Well, it's definitely going to be tough.
Yeah, it is, right? Because I'm like, either a master's in engineering or a PhD. I'm like, master's engineering is going to have a lot more use, I think. People are like, oh, you have an engineering master's. Okay. Whereas everyone who has an engineering degree, they're like, oh, I'm going to go get an MBA. Like, isn't that kind of easier in a sense? But because it's also a master's, then like, oh yeah, you must know something about business. Like, yes, like lack of morals business, like Lehman Brothers business maybe. I don't know. I can't say. Can't generalize. But
Well, there's also the concept of when you're going for the masters, the non-thesis masters and the thesis masters, where you have the big oral. Well, my critters are freaking out in the background. But the main thing is that the masters that do not have a thesis are considered the top level of a professional degree. That you will be the topmost trained person that is going to work at any corporation on the planet. The ones that are used to go towards an actual PhD is the top level thinker in academia. So that's basically your PhD at that point, is to become a teacher. But I've always kind of preferred to be a doer. I mean, I love to teach along the way, but I mean, I want to teach at the flanks of me moving ahead, right?
yeah, there are many forms of being a teacher, I think. I mean, Elon Musk is a really good teacher. It's like, yes, you can. It can be impossible, but yes, you can. Or yes, we can. Quoting Obama there. All right, Chris, I'll let you go. It's probably getting late there, and thank you. We will catch up some more. Good night.